The internet is on fire right now. Fans are in complete shock as new FBI leaks and unseen insider info begins circulating about Lil Durk and his possible betrayal of the late King Von. This ain't just rumor mill stuff, this is deep betrayal. Secret alliances and loyalty being questioned at the highest level of the rap game. And now, the people closest to Von. They're finally breaking their silence, and what they're saying could shake the foundation of OTF and the whole Chicago drill scene. But here's the real question. Was Lil Durk playing both sides this entire time? In this video, we're diving deep into the timelines, leaked DMs, behind-the-scenes calls, and what FBI insiders are really saying. Stick around because this is the kind of drama that could end careers, expose hidden enemies, and reveal who was really loyal to Von. Let's get into it. The street's been whispering for a minute now. But after this new wave of leaked info, them whispers turn to full-blown screams. What was once brushed off as just conspiracy talk is now sitting right in the faces of fans who thought they knew the real story. The truth is, maybe nobody really knew what was going on behind the scenes between Lil Durk and King Von. Because now, the image of brotherhood that was painted so perfectly, it's starting to crack, and the cracks are loud. When King Von came up, he came up fast. Fresh out the joint, repping a block with pride, raw talent, raw energy. Lil Durk saw it. The city saw it. The internet saw it. Durk brought Von under his wing like family, put him on, put him in position. Fans loved the loyalty, the chemistry, the way it felt like two real ones finally getting what they deserved. They called each other twin. They stood side by side against the world at least. That's what it looked like. But even from the beginning, people close to them noticed something was off. Some of Von's early associates whispered that once the cameras were off, there were silent tensions. Little moments that didn't feel right. Von was street to the core. He had enemies, real beef, and a code that couldn't be bent. But Durk, he was already halfway into the industry. Big deals, labels watching, corporate bags on the table. And when those two worlds collide, it always gets messy. Von's energy was unpredictable. He wasn't about politics. If he had a problem, he was stepping. No questions. That night in Atlanta, that's when everything changed. November 6th, the night the world lost King Von. Shots rang out outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge. Chaos, screaming, bodies falling. By the time fans figured out what happened, Von was gone. And social media. It exploded. At first, the story was painted simple. Von ran into Quando Rendo's camp. Tempers flared. Fights broke out. Someone pulled the trigger. Done. But within hours, fans started asking questions. Where was Durk? Why didn't he say anything right away? Why did he seem so distant? The first Instagram post Durk made was a tribute. But it felt cold to some fans. Short, clipped, like something he had to do, not something he felt. Von's people noticed. Especially those from Chicago who were around both of them from day one. They started wondering if Durk had known more than he let on. The rumors started there, and they haven't stopped since. Then came the leaks. Voice notes. Court whispers. A few months back, an alleged FBI file started circulating. It ain't been officially confirmed, but people swore it was real. In that file, there were mentions of internal surveillance suggesting someone had warned Durk about possible retaliation involving Von. Warned him days before the incident. Now, if that's true, why didn't he tell Von? Why didn't he keep him from going out that night? Why didn't he show up? But maybe the answer lies in something deeper. Maybe Durk had already started distancing himself from Von before that night even happened. Not publicly, not in music, But behind closed doors, in meetings, in label conversations, in quiet phone calls, some insiders say Durk had already been told by the higher-ups to be careful. That Von was too hot, too reckless, a liability. And in the industry, when people start using words like that, they don't care who your day one is. They just want you clean, profitable, safe, and so came the idea. What if Durk was stuck between loyalty and legacy, between the streets and the suits? Some say he didn't betray Von. They say he froze. Tried to play it safe. Maybe he hoped things would blow over. Maybe he thought he had time. But when you come from the trenches, indecision is betrayal. Then came the silence. Durk didn't pull up at Von's funeral. Didn't speak much. Didn't do interviews. Didn't even go live about it. He kept moving. He dropped music. Made appearances. Linked up with big names. His success skyrocketed. Meanwhile, Von's people, they were left in the dust. Mourning in silence. Trying to keep his name alive while watching the one person who could have said something act like nothing happened. And that silence. It cut deep, especially for Von's close circle. A few of them started dropping hints, EEG stories with cryptic captions, comments on fan pages. One of Von's closest friends even tweeted something like, "It always be the ones who say they real that fold first." Fans caught on. They screenshotted everything. The theories blew up. Reddit threads, TikTok breakdowns, YouTube reactions. Everyone trying to piece it together. Then came a live that flipped everything. Someone from Von's old camp, a guy fans only knew by his street name, Twin. He went live late at night, straight off the Heaney, and he said it plain, no filter. Von ain't die for no reason. Mufas knew what was coming. And them same Mufas ain't do s **** to stop it. You figure it out. The live was short, maybe 10 minutes. But that clip? It went viral. Millions of views. Blogs reposted it. Fan pages broke it down frame by frame. People started digging deeper. Looking back at old Von interviews, seeing if he ever said anything shady. One clip resurfaced Von on IG Live, saying some *********, acting like they real but ain't gone ride when it count. It didn't sound like a diss at the time. But now it hit different, and the fans weren't the only ones watching. Other artists started keeping their distance. Some unfollowed Durk. Some stopped reposting his music. Whispers in the industry said certain collaborations were paused because of the backlash. All of a sudden, Durk, who was on top of the world, looked like he was standing on shaky ground. But even with all that noise, Durk still didn't speak. He dropped a few subliminals and tracks. Sure. Lyrics like "They want me to crash out for bro, but I gotta feed my kids, and real ones know what I did behind the scenes." But the thing is, sometimes silence speaks louder than words, and while the fans kept debating, Von's crew started getting louder. Little by little, they stopped holding back. Another associate posted a story with just 3 words, "He know why," and then, something no one saw coming happened. A private voicemail from someone claiming to be connected to the case leaked online. The voice said, "We warned him." He ignored it. He had a choice, and that's where things took a turn no one expected. Because if that voicemail was real and Durk was warned, then that changes the entire narrative. It's not just about a missed funeral or a cold tribute post. It's about accountability, responsibility, choices made in silence. That led to a loud and deadly end. And that's exactly where this story picks up. Because once that voicemail leaked, everything changed. Fans stopped asking if Durk knew. Now they started asking why he stayed quiet. The pressure turned real. Media outlets that usually stayed away from street-level drama started picking it up. Blogs were on fire. Headlines flooded the timeline. Was Durk warned about Von's death? OTS member breaks silence. FBI files connect dots in Von case. But what shook the streets even more was the reaction from ETF's inner circle. For years, they were known for moving like a family. Real tight. No leaks. No outsiders. But now, people who used to ride for Durk were suddenly silent. Or even worse, dropping shady posts. One former affiliate posted a black screen with the words, "Don't let money make you forget who you buried." That one post alone had thousands of comments within minutes. Everyone knew what it meant. Nobody had to say the names, and then came the footage. Fans always find receipts, and this time they dug up a clip from a few months before Von passed. In that video, Von and Durk are on FaceTime, laughing, cracking jokes, but Durk says something off mic, and Von's face changes. Quick, serious, he looks uncomfortable. Back then, no one thought much of it. But now, in the context of all this drama, fans are reading between the lines. Saying Von might have known something was off. Even back then, people started asking the dangerous question, was Durk trying to protect Von? Or protect himself? Was Durk trying to protect Von? Or protect himself? You see, before Von's death, he had already gotten into multiple incidents. Altercations in Atlanta, tension in Houston, and serious beef in Baton Rouge. Everywhere he went, there was smoke. He wasn't industry safe. He didn't play the game. He spoke his mind, kept real ones around, and refused to be filtered. But that kind of energy? It doesn't sit well with the suits behind the scenes. People at labels want stability. They want a clean image. They want the face of their brand to be bulletproof, not bullet-riddled. And Durk. He was just about to sign his biggest brand deal yet. Rumors say a multi-million-dollar partnership was on the table, one that could change his life forever. Some insiders claim the label told him directly, "You gotta distance yourself from the heat. No more drama. No more bodies dropping. Or this deal's off." And guess who was bringing the heat at the time? King Von. Now imagine the position that puts someone in. You got your brother, your day one, riding wild, refusing to play by the rules. And you got major corporations telling you to pick a side. The money or the loyalty. In the real world, it sounds like an easy choice. But in the streets, choosing the bag over blood is unforgivable. And the way Von moved, he didn't care about deals. He didn't care about public image. His only concern was respect, honor, revenge when it was needed. And maybe, just maybe, Durk knew that and chose to step back. Not because he wanted to betray Von, but because he wanted to protect his future. But the cold part is, the moment you step back in silence, the streets start talking for you. After the voicemail leak, another wave of tweets and posts came from people connected to Von's camp. One said he could have made one call, just one, and bro would still be here. Another said Von trusted too many snakes. These weren't fans. These were people who knew the truth, or at least lived close to it. Their words hit harder because they weren't speculating, they were grieving. And they were angry. The comment sections got brutal. Fans were divided. Half saying Durk was smart to stay silent. The other half calling him a snake. People brought up old interviews where Von defended Durk, stood by him, even said he'd never switch. And now? That loyalty felt one-sided. But the biggest shock came when one of Von's blood relatives, his cousin, who's kept quiet for years, posted a now-deleted tweet. They told me to hush for the brand. But nah, real ones don't let killers get away. The internet exploded. People demanded proof. They begged her to speak more. She stayed silent after that, but the damage was done. That one tweet changed the narrative again. You have to understand. In the rap game, perception is everything. The truth don't always matter as much as how people feel. And right now, a lot of people feel betrayed. Betrayed by the silence. Betrayed by the industry. Betrayed by a system that rewards quiet compliance and punishes loyalty that doesn't fit in a boardroom. Durk tried to move past it. He dropped more music, made cryptic posts, kept his head down. But even his lyrics started sounding different. Fans noticed how he mentioned pain without names, how he talked about losing friends without pointing fingers. One song had the line, "They said I ain't slide, but they don't know what I did." And fans debated it to death. Some said it was about Von. Others said it was guilt talking. The speculation wouldn't stop. Meanwhile, Von's unreleased music started leaking. One track in particular got people talking. It wasn't mastered, just a raw snippet. But the lyrics, they were sharp. He said, "Snakes in my grass be dapping me up. They scared to shoot, but quick to duck." Fans took that as a direct shot. Not at his ops, but at someone close. Maybe even the closest. And then, out of nowhere, an alleged conversation between two music execs leaked online. In that convo, one of them said, "We told him to fall back from that whole situation. We couldn't have our artists caught up if more bodies dropped." It wasn't clear who they were talking about. But the internet assumed it was Durk. And that made the betrayal feel even more real. Not just a personal one, but a professional decision, calculated, cold. And while all of this was going on, King Von's legacy kept growing. Murals, fan pages, tribute songs, interviews resurfacing. But the pain behind it all never went away. Because to his people, this wasn't just about music. It was about trust. About feeling like the person who could have done something chose not to. Not because he couldn't, but because it was easier to stay quiet. And now, with more and more voices speaking up, the pressure on Durk is reaching a boiling point. Fans want answers. Von's people want justice. And behind the scenes, the walls might be closing in, because next comes the part nobody saw coming. The story was already spinning out of control. But what happened next took everything to a whole different level. Because when people thought they'd heard it all, a new voice entered the conversation, someone who had been silent for over a year. And when he finally spoke, it was like gasoline on fire. I'm talking about a man who fans call the Ghost of O-Block. Someone who was there from the beginning, before the fame, before the deals, before the betrayal. And when he went live, the truth, or at least his version of it, came out raw. Unfiltered and straight from the gut. He didn't name names at first. Just started with, "I ain't trying to go viral. I just want to speak facts." Then he said it. "Von told me he ain't trust everybody in that circle no more. Too much funny energy. Too much silence when it mattered." He said that a week before Von died, they had a private convo in the car. Von was paranoid, quiet, chain-smoking, and he kept repeating the same line, "Why everybody actin' weird?" The live went crazy. Tens of thousands watched it in real time. And that's when he said the name. "I ain't gone sugarcoat it." Durk moved funny. "I ain't say he pulled no trigger. I ain't say he made no call. But he knew. And he ain't warn him." Boom. The internet froze. Blogs posted clips instantly. Twitter had it trending in minutes. Fan pages reposted the live with red circles, captions, and slow-motion edits. People pulled up old comments, piecing everything together like a murder mystery. And as if that wasn't enough, another leak hit the net, a short clip from a recording studio. Security cam footage. In the video, Durk is seen talking on the phone in a heated convo. The audio was low, but lip readers swore, he said. "I told him, don't go out tonight." Fans immediately linked it to the night of Von's death. It was grainy. Hard to prove anything. But the speculation was enough. Headlines went wild. Did Durk try to stop Von or cover his own tracks? And now, even Durk's silence started to look suspicious. Every post he made, fans flooded the comments. Snake emojis. You knew. You let it happen. Money over blood. People even started tagging Von's old accounts, saying, "We got you, bro." It was emotional, messy, and extremely viral. But that's when something no one expected happened. Lil Durk's team made a statement. It wasn't from Durk himself, just his management. The post said, "In light of recent rumors, we urge fans not to fall for internet speculation. Lil Durk loved King Von like a brother and is still grieving. We will not comment on fake leaks or edited footage." But for many fans, that wasn't enough. It felt like damage control, not truth. Von's sister, who had stayed mostly quiet during all this, posted a tweet just hours later. It said, "They only love you when you're gone. Some ain't even come see my mama." That tweet got over 100,000 likes. The replies were brutal. "She talking about Durk. The truth is loud now. That's cold." Things spiraled faster. Someone leaked an old group chat where Von allegedly messaged, "I be moving dolo cause too many people around me on fake time." No proof if the chat was real, but fans believed it. Because by now, everything Durk said or didn't say was under the microscope. Even mainstream rap outlets that usually avoid messy drama like Rap Radar and Revolt started covering it. On a podcast episode, one host said, "This is starting to look like one of the biggest loyalty tests in rap history." And Durk Middo failed it. Meanwhile, underground blogs like Say Cheese and Rap Daily were going all in. Daily updates, leaked screenshots, wild theories. They even interviewed background people, alleged security guards, old producers, a girl who claimed to be on FaceTime with Von the night he died. Everyone wanted a piece of the narrative, some for clout, some out of pain, some maybe just to finally tell the truth, some maybe just to finally tell the truth. The most chilling part, a voicemail from one of Von's family members. In it, they said, "We knew something was up when he stopped bringing Durk around. Last few weeks, he kept to himself. Said he didn't want to say too much. But he knew who was really riding and who was really watching." That line hit fans hard. Watching, not protecting, not helping, just watching. Then came the biggest shock yet. A hacker group known for leaking celebrity DMs and private files dropped a bombshell. They posted what they claimed was an internal email between label execs and Durk's manager. The message talked about potential heat from the Atlanta situation and said, "Limit public association with King Von to protect artist branding." It was dated 2 weeks before Von's death. If real, that email confirmed everything fans feared. That there was a decision made, a line drawn, not by ops, not by enemies, but by people close to Durk. A business move that came at the cost of loyalty. But of course, Durk's label denied the email was real. They said it was fabricated, edited, created by trolls. But by now, truth and lie were so blurred. Nobody knew what to believe. The streets were divided. Some still rode for Durk, said he did what he had to do, said Von was a wild card, couldn't be saved. Others said Durk sold his soul, traded brotherhood for branding, chose comfort over code. But one thing everyone agreed on: Von didn't deserve to die like that, alone, in chaos, surrounded by cameras and confusion, while people who could have warned him stayed silent. And now, with the FBI reportedly opening up a fresh look at the case due to all the noise online, fans believe the truth might finally come out. The question is, can the industry handle it? Because what started as quiet whispers in Chicago streets has now turned into a storm. The entire world is watching. And the next move. Might just tear everything down, and the next move might just tear everything down. Because once the FBI reopened its files, the energy shifted. This wasn't internet gossip anymore. It wasn't just tweets, lives, or indirects. Now, it was law enforcement getting involved, reopening surveillance data, re-interviewing witnesses, and revisiting cell tower pings from that night outside Monaco Hookah Lounge. And guess whose name was reportedly still in the system? Not as a suspect, but as someone previously flagged for relevant proximity. The name was Durk's. Again. The feds didn't accuse him of anything. No charges. No subpoenas. But his name being mentioned was enough to send fans into meltdown. Conspiracy videos flooded YouTube. People dug up old interviews where Durk looked nervous, where he changed the subject when Von's name came up, where he said things like, "I stay out the way," or "I ain't trying to talk about no dead friends." Those lines, once seen as humble, now sounded cold to some fans. Detached, guilty, and the pressure wasn't just online anymore. Insiders said brand deals started quietly backing out. Labels getting nervous. Legal teams watching closely. Some streaming platforms even removed Von's music from curated playlists without explanation. Fans noticed, and they blamed one person. But the thing that really broke the internet, what truly made the story feel like a tragedy instead of just a scandal, was when a video surfaced of Von's mom. It was short. She was walking out of a courthouse, surrounded by cameras. A reporter asked her, "Do you think your son was set up?" She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. She paused, looked into the camera, and said, "He ain't deserve what happened. And people who claim to love him should have done more." Those words hit like a bullet to the heart of the culture. It was no longer about leaks or theories. This was pain. Real pain. From a mother who lost her son, watching people turn his death into likes, shares, and blog content. And behind that pain was a question everyone kept asking. If Von was alive today, who would he still trust? Because let's be real, the Von we knew wouldn't have stayed silent if the roles were reversed. If something happened to Durk, Von would have been all over the internet. Loud, raw, emotional. Looking for revenge, or at least respect. But when Von died, Durk stayed quiet. Too quiet. And now, people were realizing that silence can be its own kind of statement. And it's not just fans saying it anymore. Even rappers started speaking indirectly. One artist posted, "They say loyalty real, but they move like the industry wrote the script." Another said, "I seen brothers bury brothers for chains and clout." Again, no names. But the streets knew who the subliminals were about. And in the middle of it all, Ativ started to look fractured. Certain members stopped showing up together. Some unfollowed each other. Others started focusing on solo projects. The once solid foundation now looked like it was full of cracks. And fans were watching every move, every post, every song drop, searching for hidden messages, looking for signs of beef, waiting for someone to say it all out loud. Then came one of the most unexpected twists. An old friend of both Von and Durk, someone who had stayed completely silent for over 3 years, popped up on a podcast. It wasn't even a big platform, just a low-key street-level YouTube channel. But what he said went viral in less than 24 hours. I was there for both come-ups. From the porch to the penthouse. And I'll tell you this, one of them died. A real one. The other lived like a survivor. And sometimes surviving means letting go of loyalty. The host asked, "So, are you saying Durk let Von die?" His response, "I'm saying he ain't stop it." And sometimes that's the same thing. Those words cut deep. Because they weren't said in anger. They were said calmly. Like facts. Like something that had been buried too long. Finally being let out after that podcast dropped. Fans flooded Durk's latest music video with comments. Some begged him to speak. Others cursed his name. Just say what really happened. You knew he was going to die. Von died alone. And you let it happen. It was nonstop and still. Durk didn't respond, but he did something strange. He deleted every photo of Von from his Instagram, every post, every tribute. Every memory gone, no explanation, no warning, just vanished. And the internet lost its mind to some fans. It felt like erasure, betrayal, like Durk was trying to rewrite history, cut Von out of his narrative. Others said maybe he was hurting. Maybe he couldn't handle the weight anymore. Maybe he was tired of pretending everything was okay when clearly it wasn't. Whatever the reason, that move shifted the conversation again. Now, it wasn't just about what Durk did or didn't do back then. It was about what he was doing now. And too many fans. Deleting Von's memory in silence was the final straw. One viral tweet summed up the mood perfectly. You can't delete your way out of betrayal. And that's when the story came full circle. Because despite all the drama, all the theories, all the pain, the one thing everyone kept coming back to was Von. His music, his voice, his legacy. Because through all the mess, one thing stayed true. Von was real. Too real for the industry. Too loud for the labels. Too dangerous for the fake ones. And that's why fans loved him. Why the streets still scream his name. Why his murals stay untouched while others fade. And that's why this drama, this betrayal, hit so hard it wasn't just a rap beef. It wasn't just a fallen artist. It was a reminder that in the world of fame, fame doesn't protect you. Friends don't always stay loyal. And silence can speak louder than gunshots. Because at the end of the day, someone died. A real one. And the question still haunts the streets, the studios, the comment sections. Did Lil Durk let it happen? Or was he just another product of a game that never loved them both? So now, after everything that's come out, the leaked calls, the cryptic posts, the deleted memories, and the voices that finally spoke up, one thing is clear. The truth behind King Von's death is deeper, messier, and more painful than anybody ever imagined. What started as brotherhood turned into betrayal. What looked like loyalty now feels like silence wrapped in guilt. Now feels like silence wrapped in guilt. Did Lil Durk know more than he let on? Was it pressure from the label? Was it fear? Or was it just survival? We may never get all the answers. But one thing's for sure. The streets are watching. The fans ain't forgetting. And every new leak, every new post, every new bar in a song gets picked apart like clues in a mystery that still ain't solved. And the scariest part, this might only be the beginning. Because when betrayal starts cracking from the inside, it doesn't stop. It spreads. And the rap game, it never forgets, so now it's your turn to speak. What do you think really happened? Did Durk play both sides? Was he protecting himself? Or did he let his brother fall? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you stayed locked in till the end. And don't forget to subscribe, because we got more insane rap drama, leaks, and untold stories coming your way real soon. This ain't the end of the story. ... It's just the calm before the next storm. Stay tuned. Stay watching, and remember, in the rap game, the real always rises. But sometimes, it rises from the grave.